Hello, I'm Gary Stearman sitting in for JR on today's Prophecy in the News update, and we're going to talk about a news item that basically has captured the headlines over the weekend. There was a meeting of the G20. Reading from the Financial Times, the U.S. is preparing to pivot from domestic regulatory reform to a push for a tough new international capital regime after the weekend's G20 and International Monetary Funds glossed over differences between leading economies. Tim Geithner, U.S. Treasury Secretary, met Mario Draghi, chairman of the Financial Stability Board, on Sunday to discuss the contours of a system that would decide the safety and profitability of banks for decades to come and could eclipse the arguments over bank taxes and regulations. Now, that's a lot of words. The meaning is very simple. An international economy is being forged even as we speak, and the United States is leading the charge in the G20. The G20 group of 20, they are a group of finance ministers, central bank governors. The G20 was established in 1999 to bring together important industrialized and developing economies and to create the framework or the matrix for a global economy, the G20. Who are the 20? And this is interesting. They are Argentina, by the way, in alphabetical order. Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, the Republic of Korea, Turkey, United Kingdom, United States of America. Now, if you were counting, that was 19. Who's the 20th? The 20th is the European Union, represented by a rotating council presidency. And so the EU is considered one of the entities, and a great entity it is, by the way. The G20 has 20 members, but there are other groups. There have been, of course, as you know, the G8, the G10, there have been the G7. There is the Quartet, commonly thought of as the United States, the United Kingdom, Russia, and the United Nations. So there are groups of 4, there are groups of 8. Lately we are hearing about the group of 20. The Bible talks about the G10, if you will. I'm reading from Daniel, and you know that Daniel talked about 4 great Gentile world empires. And in Daniel 7:23, we read this: "Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, break it in pieces. And then the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise." Interesting. "And another shall arise after them. And he notice the masculine pronoun, he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So we find in the Bible, both in Daniel and Revelation, the G10, if you will, 10 horns. Horns being symbolic of power representations. Now, let's get back to the weekend meeting of the G20 in Washington, led by Timothy Geithner. Even though he's not the official chairman, he got all the publicity. One of the items that was very, very deeply discussed in this meeting was the RMB rate, as it is called. You'll be hearing about the RMB rate a lot, and so let me explain it to you. That's the Chinese word is renminbi, abbreviated for all of us English speakers as RMB. That's another name for the Chinese yuan, or the Chinese currency. It's the big factor of debate. How should we weight or rate the Chinese currency called RMB? What's the RMB rate? Currently, 1 yuan, or RMB, is worth 0.1464 US dollars. The Chinese, as you know, are holding great quantities of U.S. debt. And so the behind-the-scenes meetings that you'll be hearing about. If you watch the proceedings of the G20 in the near future, they're holding a big meeting in Canada upcoming. You will note that they will be discussing the RMB rate. In other words, how powerful should China be in this convocation, in the leadership of global banking? Again, I come back to Daniel. The 10 horns of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. Daniel says that there will be a global government. We're seeing it already. And it's called the G20. It's going to be pared down until it becomes the G10. And then the one that everybody's talking about will arise. And he's said to be diverse from the first. And he's said to be the one who will subdue 3 kings, so that in the end there will be only the G7, if you will, led by the Antichrist. Daniel 7:25 says, "And he," that is the Antichrist, after he succeeds in doing this, "shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws." And you can bet that among those times and laws will be economic laws. "And they shall be given into his hand until a time, times, and the dividing of times." And of course, we all know that is Daniel's way of talking about 3.5 years. So there you have it. Again, the United States, the headline in the Financial Times from yesterday's meeting, that's April 24th, Sunday, the headline is, U.S. prepares to push for global capital rules, and the chief sticking point or bargaining point is the RMB. How should we rate the Chinese economy? How much power should we be giving the Chinese economy? That's what we're watching today in terms of the rise of what Daniel calls the 10 horns. And John in Revelation writes about the beast out of the sea, which is a reflection of the same metaphor as given by Daniel. That beast out of the sea given in Revelation also has 10 horns. I think they are financial and political powers. After the smoke clears, after all of the board meetings, after the elimination of various contenders, that group of 20 is going to be peeled down to the group of 10. And we'll be at the fringe, at the verge of seeing Bible prophecy fulfilled right before our eyes. Well, a word about J.R. Keep him in prayer. J.R. has begun chemotherapy today. He plans on being here tomorrow, and I'm sure he'll give you an update on his condition. But to all of the faithful of Prophecy in the News, please hold us up in prayer during this time of great stress for J.R. Church. We appreciate your prayers. We appreciate your following, and we're going to try to keep you apprised of the latest in prophetic developments in the news. For J.R. Church, I'm Gary Stearman.